Hello and welcome back. It's puzzle time with Sudoku Sleuth, and today we're going to be playing Fog-Topia. Now, when you have a title that has the word topia, or really a reference to utopia to it, I don't know why. I mean, obviously, utopia is meant to be, a place of fantastic happiness, really well-run city, but in my mind, for some reason, all of these attempts will always end up creating like a dystopian city. And that's why you see this reference here to potentially a place of nightmares. There are weird things in the background. I mean, even Sleuth is looking a little bit creepy, if I'm honest. If you've ever actually played the video games Bioshock, they're like a series of, essentially, spoiler, they're a series about different societal attempts at building utopias that are isolated from the rest of humanity, and essentially the protagonist is trying to explore each of these different city landscapes and just understanding what went wrong with them. Well, hopefully nothing's going to wrong with today's solve. In general, I've noticed that my recent solves have broadly been better than the last few weeks. I think it's predominantly because I've been back to recording early morning as opposed to late evening. So before the start of the workday, not at the very end just as I'm heading to bed, and I have no brain cells left functioning to actually help me solve. Enough of an introduction, let's take a look at today's puzzle and rule sets. Well, puzzle and rule sets would be helpful if I've actually pasted in the right one. So how about I quickly fix that? I really should probably just restart the video, but I think it just adds a bit of authenticity. So there we go. That I am unfortunately sometimes a bit clumsy. I mean, sometimes. I think that's an understatement, really. Often would be more accurate statement. How are we doing? Yeah, that's there. That's there. Right. Let's try that again. Rules-wise. And you can see almost like a creepy, smiling individual with a pink mouth open. Yeah, I'm really pushing this idea through. Right, rules-wise, we've got normal Sudoku rules apply. Place the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, every column, every 3x3 box. If I can even select one. There we go. Digits along a magenta renban form a set of consecutive, non-repeating digits in any order. So if this cell here was 2, I have 4 cells in this renban. It cannot repeat any digits other than the fact that it's the same box, but that's part of the rule set. So if you see it elsewhere in the grid, once we actually uncover this fog, remember, no repeated digits. But they have to form a consecutive set. So that could be 1, 2, 3, 4. I could have 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5. But what I cannot do is, let's say, skip a digit here and go 2, 3, 5, 6. They're no longer a consecutive set on aggregate. That's renbans. The digits along each arrow must sum to the digits in the circle. So if this cell here is a 2, and let's say that this cell here is a 5, then this cell would have to be a 7. Essentially, whatever these 2 cells are on the arrow, the sum inside the circle, the sum is inside the circle. Don't know why I kind of phrased that as if I'm going to carry on there. Right, what else do we have? We've got black dots. So continuing with my 2 example, if that cell was 2, essentially a black dot between cells indicates cell values with a 2-to-1 ratio. So that would have to be 1 or 4, so that one cell is double the other. If this was the 2, and you can see a white dot, you could just about see it creeping into the fog there. A white dot between cells indicates cells with consecutive values, so 1 or 3. Not all crop key dots are given, so 2 with a 4 in here, no black dots, not a problem. A 2 with a 3 in here, no white dots, not a problem either. So just keep that in mind, negative constraints do not apply. Interesting. So the way Megan has sort of described the rules, he's kind of explained what is visible, and then there are 2 that are actually not visible. So we're going to have to try and draw some of these. The grid is partially covered with fog. Correctly placed digits will clear the fog around that cell. So if that was correctly a 2, essentially all of the fog around that cell, I mean, obviously these are not covered in fog, but everything that is even diagonally, not just orthogonally connected to the cell, will be revealed and hopefully shows us more clues so that we can actually proceed with the solve. Now, two rules that are covered by the fog, so we're going to have to use a bit of our imagination. Imagine that this was a green line, not a purple line. A bit easier to imagine now that it's actually a green line. Now, adjacent digits along a green German whisper line must have a difference of at least 5. So if that cell was a 2, then the two neighboring digits would have to be 7, 8, or 9, so that they are 5 or more away. You oscillate between high digits 6, 7, 8, 9 and low digits 1, 2, 3, 4. Last but not least, this is going to be quite tough to do. Digits in a cage do not repeat and sum to the clue in the top left. I imagine most of the regular viewers of this channel are all familiar with this rule, but just for the sake of completion, imagine these two cells were actually part of a cage. You'll see these as a dashed line outside of box 5, seemingly. And in the top left corner will be a value. Let's say it's 7. Then essentially the two cells inside the cage must sum up to that value. So that could have been, for example, 2 and 5. That would be a perfectly valid fill, but obviously it could be 3 and 4, for example. That would be fine too. Right, that's all the rules we have for today. Plenty of them, actually. Unusual for a fog puzzle from Mega 3. I do know that fog is amongst the favorites of many of you, so I hope that you guys enjoy it. As always, to attempt to enjoy it, link will be in the description down below for you to do so. And with that said, I'm going to restart the clock, see how I get on. Right, so you know I'm going to start with this. This has to be 2 or 4. Black Kropke dots, 3 unique different numbers. There is no way this could be anything other than 2 or 4. Now I'm kind of half tempted to say it can't be 4. Because a 4, let's just assume for a second this is 2 and 8. I'm now worried about the renban. Because I need 4 consecutive digits. And essentially 1 and 3 are out because the 2, 4 would interrupt it. 5, 6, 7 is the longest stint that I can do between 4 and 8. But that's it. So that's a 2. This is 1 or 4. This is 1 or 4. Now I still need 4 consecutive digits. That could be 5, 6, 7, 8 or 6, 7, 8, 9. Regardless, 6, 7, and 8 are on here. Now that can't be a 6 because that would require this to be a 4 on the arrow. So that's definitely not a 6. In fact, I'm pretty sure that has to be... Hang on, what am I saying? So it's not 8 either. So this could be 6, that could be 8. Admittedly, because this could also be 5, that could be 7. So if we think around this, can I actually deduce this? I'm not sure I can. 1, 2, and 4. I mean, this is another 1, 2, 4. I'm racing ahead, but I really feel like we should be able to squeeze more out. So the remaining digits are 3, 5, and 9. Now, from all of these digits, which one can actually be on a black Kropke dot? Short answer is 3. 5 and 9 would either be 2.5 or 10, or equal for the 9 would be equal, non-integer numbers. So that's 3. That's got to be 6 to be 2 to 1 away. That's got to be 5 or 9. If that's 9, that has to be 8. If that's 5, that's 4 or 6. Now, given I don't think I can resolve this, essentially this is 5, 6, 7, and this is 7, 8, 9. That's really the best I can do right now. So, onto the 7 cage, 3 cells that do not repeat. I'm pretty sure that was in the rules. Yeah, digits in the cage do not repeat, and some to the clue in the top left. So this has to be 1, 2, 4. Neither of these could be 2 because of Sudoku. That's the only place for a 2. 1 and 4 are both low on the German whisper line. So this has to be a high digit. This has to be low. This has to be high. This technically could be a 5. I could put a 4 in here and then a 5. So it's not guaranteed to be a low digit. That has to be a high digit. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 high digits. So there's at least a 5 on here. The question that's in my mind is there a 6? Potentially there is. So I could have 7, 6, 5, 4, something along those lines. So I can't confirm that they're all the same color, is what I'm getting at. Right, 9 cage. You've got in row 4 now, 1, 2, 3, and 4. This is at least a 5. which means that this can't be 2, 3, 4, for example. To get to 9, there has to be a 1. So somewhere in here is a 1, it's not down there because of the 1, 4 pair. 1 and 5, I think, is pretty much the maximum. So that would be 5, that would be a 1, 3. So yeah, that is forced. That's 5, that's 1, 3. This is 2 or 4, depending on whether this is 3 or 1. Without 1 and without 3, I think this has to be 4, 8. Essentially, if we think about all of the black croquet dots, 1, 2, 4, 8, and 3, 6, well, I've eliminated 3, 6, that's gone. I've eliminated 1. I technically can't do 2, 4, because that would basically place a 4 up here if it's not 2. So 2 is gone, so that has to be 4, 8, that's a 2. That doesn't actually give me the 1 or 3 though. Not resolved. Because, you know, it could be consecutive with either. Interesting. I'm kind of... You're suddenly, like, Megan's puzzles in general, I've noticed when it comes to fog, have a very narrow solution path. Where you get, in general, like very little information. And it just keeps kind of pointing you in the right direction. But this time, it's not quite playing like one of his usual fog puzzles where there's like an enormous amount of information very shortly. And you're trying to figure out what's going on. So I'll tell you something, for example. This 7 cage can't be more than 3 cells. If it is more than 3 cells, then we know that these 2 cells are part of it. And, you know, sorry, if it's more than 2 cells, let's say it's 3. Well, 2 would hide in here, away from the Sudoku, but this 1, 4 still has to be somewhere. So this is 2 cells, and it's not 2, 5. It could be 1, 6, or it could be 3, 4. But in essence, between us, this 4 and 3 are gone between these cells, and 1. No, 1 and 4 are gone between the cells. So they're nowhere else in this setup. If that's 4, that would be 9, that would be 8. If that's 1, this is very open-ended. So if that's 9, that would be 8, 7, 6, 5. I don't see a problem with that. If it is 1, I can't place a 6 because that's another German whisper line you can see disappearing into the fog, so it would require a double 1 which would break the puzzle. So this is at least 7, 8 or 9, but that does mean I can have literally anything in here, like 6, 7, 8, 9, obviously not the 5. And then I have 2 high digits in here. Helpful, because I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down. That means these 4 cells are 6, 7, 8 or 9. 8 is not in here because of the 4, 8 pair. 8 is definitely in there. Therefore, there is no 6. This is 7, 8 or 9. There's definitely a 6 in here with a 7 or 9, whichever one is not going to be the neighbor of this 8. Now, if that's 1, that would be 2. Sorry, if that's 7, that would be 1 and 2. If it's 8, that would be... I mean, this is basically 1, 2, 3, 4. However, we've already said the 1 and 4 are gone. This is 2 or 3. Because of the 7 cage and the 1, 4. So, we're still not able to do a lot here. Interesting. We have like a very similar setup in here. I mean, it's very much like a... I mean, I can't believe I'm only commenting about this now, like a diagonal symmetry that's going down this way to some degree. Right, that can still be a 9, that could still be an 8. It would just mean that this is 5 and 4. It's not a 4, I've got a 1, 4 pair. So it'd have to be 5, 6. Again, it can't be a 6 because that would require a double 1, but it can be 7, 8, 9. Same logic, this is 6, 7, 8, 9. Let's just think about this for a second. If that's 8, this would be 5, 6, and this would have to be a 7. If that's 7, sorry, I missed the 8 from here. I mean, I can put 7 and 6, and I can have 9 and 8 down here. Yeah, not sure I can eliminate much. This is, I need low digits. I mean, it's not 4, otherwise that'll be a double 9. And therefore, this is 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not a 2. Technically could be a 4, is it? These two cells are the same. So this cell, if that's 4, that's 1, that's 4. So technically, I can put a 4 in here. I was essentially trying to eliminate the 4 so that it's odd, and therefore that would be even, and that would force a 2. But no such luck. And this is another 7, 8, 9. I can't believe I missed this 6. That's all the low digits, sorry, high digits done. 7, 8, 9, and 6. Up here, there you go, is another low digit and a 5. And the low digit is not a 2. Where is 2 in the remaining cells? That has to be a 2. That is not a 4, this is 1 or 3. And then up here we have 1, 3, 4, 5 with a definite 5. That's not a 3. Eight has to be between these two cells. Otherwise, how could it be consecutive? That's not an 8. 8 being here is helpful. That eliminates the 8 down there. That's 6. That's 5. We now know, well, I mean, the 5 has gone from here, and then the 7 has gone from there. And we now know that this is essentially a 6, 7, 8, 9 setup. That can't be 8 or 9. This can't be 6 or 7. And in fact, that can't be a 6 either. But it's hard work, this particular puzzle. It's kind of requiring you to really use all of the clues that are being given. 10 cage. Is that useful, or am I just jumping ahead too far? So what's down here? We have 3 and 7, 9. Essentially, we've got everything else. 6, 5, 4, 2, 1. 8 is not available, so there's a 7, 9 that's missing. That's down here with the 3. Pretty sure that can't be a 9 inside a 3-cell cage. 10 cage. Pretty sure it can't be a 7. Yes. 7 would require a 1, 2 next to them, and neither of these cells could be a 2. So that's definitely a 3. That's not a 3. 7 would require a 5. 9 would require a 3. Hasn't given us a resolution here. This 10 cage, one option is 2, 3, 5, but again, no 2s. So this would require a 1 plus the 3 plus the 6. So this is 1, 6 pair. That 6 gives us 1, gives us 6. No 1, 6 pair in here. That's 3, 4. That finally gives us some direction. So that has to be 1. That has to be 4. That has to be 9. That has to be 8. That has to be 7. This is not 7. Right, we're finally making some genuine progress now. Now that has to be different on the renban, so that's not 9. Nothing stops us from it being 7 or 8 though. 2 or 3, can't be a 3, that's a 2. This is a relatively high digit, in fact it's a 6. It's not 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, and it has to be a 6, and it's a maximum of 6 to get a 9 in here. That gives us a 7, 8 pair, and this is now a 6, 9 pair. This, now we actually know, because it's the 9 in here, we know that this is 8, 7, 6, and 5. 7 and 9 means... So, I mean, 7 is none of these cells. 7 is one of these two. 6 is none of these cells. 6 is up here. Yeah. Right. Let's just go through all of them and the 5. This is not 7 or 9. Let's just tidy it up. In fact, none of these are 7 or 9 anymore. No, that can be a 7. I think that is complete, actually. This cell is just known. That's a 5. May as well use it. Can I resolve any of these? Yeah, not 6 or 9. That's got to be an 8. That's got to be a 6. That's got to be a 9. That's got to be a 7. That 8 gives me 4 and 8 and reveals a 14 cage. The 4 gives me 3, 4, 1, 4. Not resolved. Not 4. And the 5 is not known. So, hang on, not 4. So this is 1, 3, 5. Yeah, that's as far as we can take it at the moment. Okay. Probably the 14 clue is where we're meant to look next, but let's just, for the sake of completion, in here we have 1, 1 and 2. Pretty low, so a bit of pressure on these two cells. At 3 and 7, I'm going to say. 14 cage. I mean, we do know what this lot is, so we may as well pencil mark these. Got 6, 7, and 9. That's not a 6. I was thinking it. Oh, that's not a 6 either. That is a 6. That'll give us some clues that may be useful, but I mean, there's a lot of pressure now. I'm actually tempted to just have a think about it. This is now 2, 4, 8 with a definite 4. It's not 3, 6. It's not 1, 2. It has to be either 2, 4 or 4, 8, and 4 would be joining one of them. That's a 7, 9 pair. Right. 9 and 1. Admittedly, that would require a 4, which we know is not available, but I could do 3. I mean, the pencil marks for this are going to be ridiculous, isn't it? Because I could have as low as 8 and as high as 11. So essentially, my options are going to be everything as high as 11, everything between 3 and 6, but not 6. So 3, 4, 5, 6, not 4, not 6. That's 3 or 5. These two are odd. This has to be even. Essentially, 2 odds make an even. I need to get to an even total. That has to be even. That's 2. That's 1. That's not a 2. These two have to add up to 12. Kind of the same in here. So not easy to break unless something else outside it breaks it or resolves it. Interesting puzzle. I guess this arrow is next, which isn't a 1. Could be, in fact, not a 1. None of these are 1. That is a 1. That's a 3. That's a 5. That gives me 1. That gives me 3. May as well use that. We know what these digits are. They are 2, 4, and 5. And I was going to say, frustratingly, it doesn't help us with the 7 or 9. No, hang on. There's definitely a 2 on here. I thought I could do a 4, 5 pair. Why is there a 2 just on here? Why is there no 2 there? Yeah. So essentially, the 5 is definitely there, and it's joined with the 2 or 4 to give us the 7 or 9. That 4 is not here. I could still do 4 and 5 to get a 9, so not quite resolved. We have 1, 7, 9. We need another 7, 9. It's not a 7. That's the 7. That's the 5. That's not a 5. So the 5 is, we know that already. That was definitely on here. But in the remaining cells, we've got 8 and 9. Is that helping us? Doesn't seem it. Doesn't seem it here either. Right, we're probably going to have to think again about a few things. Double check pencil marks. One can only be in here. So 7 and 9 are sorted. Essentially, the remaining digits are 3, 5, and 4, 8. Sorry, and 2, 8. They kind of have free roam, if I'm honest. We know that the 2 is in this column, but that's not helping us up here. And the 3, 5 is not really resolved either. So if that's 5, that's 7, that would be 4, that would be 2. There you go. Bit hard to spot, but essentially if these two cells have to add up to 12, one of the options is 5 and 7. removes a 5 from here. Now I can't get to 9. No, I can. I could do 4 and 5 and 9. Ignore what I just said. It just forces this to be a 2, this to be a... Sorry. 5 in here with 7. That would have to be the 4, that would be the 5, that would be the 9. That's fine. 3 and 9. Well, that would have to be the 7. And this would be a 2-5 pair, and again, almost no pressure. Interesting. Must be, oh yeah, 5, 6, 8. That gives me 7, gives me 8. No 8s, no 7s. That's 5, that's 6. Right, we probably have enough to pencil mark this slot, so we may as well. Just taking a look at what's useful down there, but I'm not actually seeing anything that's useful. I mean, I can pencil mark them, but it's not giving me much. Can I do anything with these two? Looks like 7 and 9, not resolved again. It does give me a 7-9 pair, which gives me an 8 and a 9. Right, this is 7, 8, 9. That's going to be another 7, 9. There's a definite 8 in here, and it's 7, 8, 9. This has to be a 1. These two cells are known as 4 and 5, also not resolved. That's a 7, 9 pair. That gives me not 2, excuse me. I need 3 and 4, which are not resolved. Then I have another 7, 9. I'm wondering if we're going to have to color the 7, 9s at this rate. 6, 7, 9 with a definite 6. Maybe. Column maybe. Let's have a think about this. So this is not the 3, 4. 3 or 4 can't be here. We need a 1 in this column, which could only be there. That's not the 3, 4. That is the 3, 4. And that's just a given digit. That's an 8, which would help. No 8s, which gives me 4, 2, and hopefully a bunch more things. 5, 4. Really, no 2s and 4s. Yeah, 4 is done, 2 is done, 4 is done, 2 is done. Okay, not quite helpful. 8 is in here. That's 3 or 5. That removes the 5 option from here. That's a 2, 4 pair. That is a 5. Doesn't help me with my 7, 9 still. We'll come back to that. That's another 2, 4. We'll come back to that. I just want to clear up this side. That's not an 8. That is the 8. Interesting. Apparently I don't have enough information to clean this up. That can't be right. Yeah, not ready. Okay. More 7, 9s. That's another 7, 9 in the column. This is 2, 3, or 4. This is 2, 3, or 4. Right. So we fully pencil marked everything. And I just need to double check what have I missed. Definite 3 in here, not really useful. 2 or 4, 3, 5 pair, not useful. I don't think it's necessary to color it, but rather than have you guys watch me stare at the screen for too long, this may prove to be easier and quicker. Has it proved to be easier and quicker? I'm not sure it has actually. 3, 4 are not resolved. Nor here, nor here. No. Not missing a crocky dot somewhere, am I? And it is fog, so chances are of... I mean, the only thing that I haven't really used is this cage. So I may want to just double check that, but let's see if we can resolve it neatly out of the 5. Dear oh dear. 9s. 7s. That makes that 2, 4, 3, 2, 4, 3, 4, 5, 7, 3. None of these are 9. I should have cleaned that up earlier, but that's the 6, that's the 7, that's the 6, and if I've not made any mistakes, that's the 9 for the finish. I remember how I was complimenting myself earlier, saying, you know, I'm much happier with my souls in the morning. That stuck a while. There was a bunch of Sudoku in general that was just a bit messy, but it doesn't stop this from being a fantastic puzzle from Megano 33 and another fantastic fog variant. Hope that you guys enjoyed the puzzle, maybe the video. See you back for the next one. Bye bye for now.